You're listening to the BigIron Buzz. Welcome to our latest episode of the BigIron Buzz, where each week we'll bring you the latest news and trends in the ag, real estate, and used equipment markets. This podcast is brought to you by BigIron Auctions and BigIron Realty, rural America's premier online unreserved auction site, bringing you rural connections, respected values, and real deals. I'm Drew Dolezal. I'm the host of today's show, and today our guests are Ryan Marthaler and Mark Stock. Ryan, welcome back to the show. Can you remind listeners of what part of the country you cover?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the District 1 manager, and that means I cover very north to south region. My territory covers all the way from southeast South Dakota to eastern Nebraska to northeast Kansas and everywhere in between. So it's a great place to be, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, good. What's the sentiment you're hearing from customers in your area, maybe in terms of the economy, how they're feeling, and their thoughts on buying and selling equipment right now?
Sure, that's a good question, Drew. So it's one I've been getting a lot recently, and if there's one thing I can tell you in my experience at BigIron is that farmers are incredibly hardworking, resilient people, and they can make it through a lot of really tough situations. What I know is that farmers still planted this year, farmers are still going to harvest in the fall, truckers are still hauling, contractors are still building, and they all need equipment for their operation. And from what I can tell, BigIron is one of the only, if not the only, auction company in the United States that didn't have to change course of what we were doing because of the COVID outbreak. There's been incredible power and comfort in the consistency of what we've been able to offer our customers during all this. Because we haven't had to change our business model, not even in the slightest, we've seen a major uptick in our website traffic, uptick in our bidder registrations, and an uptick in our auction participation, which, of course, just leads to strong sale prices for our sellers. So, on the flip side of that, as I mentioned, the ag economy is still moving forward, and with money cheaper than it's ever been, there's not really a better time to buy equipment either.
One of the things I want to talk about, and Mark can chime in here anytime too, we'll start with you though, maybe Ryan. Common misconception is that BigIron is a site for agricultural equipment only. How would you field this if somebody asked you that question?
Yeah, sure. So, well, first and foremost, I would tell them, just go look at our site. And don't get me wrong, we do have close to 3,000 pieces of ag equipment listed on BigIron.com, but we also have nearly 700 pieces of construction equipment in yellow iron. We also have nearly 600 pieces of transportation equipment, which would be your trucks and your trailers. We really do cover all ends of the spectrum and all industry types. But if somebody asked me that question, Drew, I would respond with this. Look, we've been doing auctions of all types for over 35 years now. We've been doing online auctions for over 10 years now through BigIron, and we've cultivated an audience that really encompasses all industry types. When you run an honest auction like we do, that puts your equipment on a global platform, a platform that's totally unreserved, that's totally lien-free, that does not have a buyer's fee, it's going to draw an audience of quality bidders no matter the type of equipment that we're selling. Especially because we have a world-class marketing team that can market your equipment to a really specific audience if it's needed. Just look at the type of equipment we have listed on BigIron right now. So check out the AllTerrain Motorsports listing selling June 3rd. That's out of Grand Junction, Colorado. When I looked at it last, there was a Cat track loader, there was a Jeep Wrangler, UTVs, ATVs, there was a scooter on there, pickup truck, just a little bit of everything. As I'm browsing through the site now, I can even see that County Line Bin Construction, which is out of Watkins, Iowa. They're having their retirement sale on BigIron on June 3rd as well. So really all types.
I'm going to pitch this next one to Mark. We just had our first auction with Mahindra. I think that just ended. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then I think we're working through some of the Sun State items there. How were some of the things like compact tractors, UTVs in particular, and implements selling on our first round of Mahindra?
Well, that's a great question, and we had a lot of viewers from all over the country, folks in California, folks in East Coast bidding on these Mahindra compact tractors. These tractors, folks, are unused. They are in like new condition because they've got less than 5 engine hours on them. So anybody that's been looking to till up their garden, or if they've got a bigger acreage and they need some equipment to mount a tractor to mount a 3-point shredder on the back and still mow their lawn with the same thing, kind of a 2-in-1 all-purpose type of tractor. Those are the people that have been participating in the Big Iron sale. And we've sold a lot of these tractors, different horsepower here just this last week, from 20 horsepower on up to 85 horsepower, and had good exposure and competition from bidders all across the country. The Sun State equipment, scissor lifts, folks, if you needed boom lifts, if you needed John Deere loader backhoes, this stuff is all rental ready. And of course, when you have something that's rental ready and it sells with no reserve, you always get a good stream of bidders and buyers. So we had adequate participation, and the good news is we have got more to sell, and it will be sold. In fact, a real big spread and package will be selling this upcoming week for Sun State. I think they got close to 75 items on the June 3rd online auction. So anybody that needs these scissor lifts to change the light bulb or paint the barn or use it in your plumbing business or whatever business you've got, check them all out. These big boom lifts, I mean, wow. We've got just a tremendous selection of different items that are coming right out of the rental fleet. These aren't items that are dead horses. These are horses that they've just replaced with new ones to keep their rental fleet new and up to date. And they're selling stuff that's only got 2,000 and 3,000 hours on these loader backhoes or these scissor lifts that might have 200 or 300 hours is all that are on them. So there's plenty of life left. Buy one and keep it in your shed so you have it when you need it.
All right. Well, and then on the flip side here, Ryan, we got some government entities and some financial institutions that have some great looking stuff for sale on the June 3rd auctions. Tell us about those.
Yeah, Drew. So to your point, we do have a pretty diverse customer base selling on Big Iron now. As I'm scrolling through the site, I see one place I never want to end up, the Arkansas Department of Corrections. They're selling with us. I see Custer Public Power out of Broken Bow, Nebraska. The City of Hastings Street Department, just out of Hastings, Nebraska. But can't forget DLL Finance, again out of Arkansas, and of course Wells Fargo out of Karnes City, Texas.
And we'll pitch this one over to you, Mark. I know you've worked with hundreds of retirees over the years, whether Open Outcry or now with our online auction platform to help them liquidate their equipment. What's your advice right now for anyone considering this?
Usually August is a time when people like to sell some of their pre-harvest equipment. So a lot of folks that plan on retiring and if they have rented their ground out and they're not using their machinery, August is usually an excellent time to sell. And of course, we still have those people who are actively farming yet this year, Drew, and they are going to be harvesting just one last time. Those folks are planning their retirement auctions in the latter part of November and into December. And a successful auction always starts with plenty of planning because we like to get the stage set, so to speak, with all of the different marketing, all of the different steps that need to be taken to get the equipment prepped and ready to sell. Most people, believe it or not, they will sit on a 5-gallon bucket for a seat on their tractor, but they'll want to put a new seat on it when they sell it. Okay, and that takes a while, and we can help them with that too. Of course, we've got folks that can come out and help with the preparation. I know a lot of times folks say the reason they're retiring is maybe they're not real healthy right now, or they broke their leg and they can't climb around their equipment and get it all prepped up. But we can help them do that, and if they give us plenty of notice, it's a lot easier process, not only for our detailing crews, but for the sellers themselves, because it's a stressful time. Every time somebody changes something of what they're doing, that's a stressful time. And we try to, hold their hand, so to speak, and walk them through that. But the main thing is anybody that has, whether it's one item they want to sell or multiple items or a complete package of equipment, the best I can give anybody is don't back yourself in a corner by saying, I need this sold in 3 weeks, because that ain't going to give you a good result. I know some auction companies portray that you're going to be just fine. We have statistics that'll show that that's not the right way to do it. We're in it for the long haul, not for the one and done. We want a customer for life. We want that customer to refer us on to their friends because of the job that we did and the results that they achieved. So that's what we're after. So pick up the phone and call us, or go to that website, BigIron.com, and click on that I have equipment to sell button. I think it's somewhere on the bottom of the screen. Click on that, and then all you have to do is put your name and your phone number, and then our district manager or region managers will be in touch with you and schedule a time for a no obligation consultation. Doesn't that sound like a doctor giving you some sort of an exam? But it's not really that painful. It's relatively easy. We just have a conversation on what it is your goals are, what you want to get accomplished, and then we start writing out the program that will line up with what you want to get accomplished.
Well, good. Well, we've got some retirement sales coming up this week. What can either of you tell us? We got Keller Brothers Farms here in Mitchell, Nebraska, and then we got Charles Misek out of Schuyler.
Yeah, in Schuyler, Nebraska, Charles Misek, he's got a John Deere 275 3-point disc mower that he's selling, and he's got a Farmall 400 narrow front tractor, so check that out. I know it's not classified as a retirement sale, but our good friends at Beller and Backus are technically kind of retiring. I've known Kenny Backus my entire life, and he's just a great guy. He's full of BS, and I would say the other word if I wasn't on this. But, if somebody's listening to this and you can have Kenny listen to it, it'd be fun because he'll just be as humble as can be. But Kenny's a good guy, and, of course, they've got a great team over there that we've been working with for years, Rich Bender and Dan Weiser, and I know Ivan Beller's been one of the owners there forever. But help support these folks because they've been a very important part of, Platte County and surrounding counties for a long, long time in Humphrey, Nebraska. I know the business name is going to change the way I understand it, but I'm sure that the employees that are there are going to still maintain that great level of service that they have always been. So we're happy for Kenny and Ivan on their retirement, and we wish the folks at Beller and Backus the very best. They're selling out, I think, a good portion of their odds and end type pieces plus some of their late model equipment here on this June 3rd sale. We also have a retirement sale in Indianola, Nebraska for Dennis Troster. He's got a Case IH 1660 combine that's going to sell. We also have this big sale out in Mitchell, Nebraska for the Keller brothers. And they've got a lot of later model equipment, John Deere 8430s and 8530s and 8110s. And they've got the good old dependable 4255 that seem to make a lot of attention. It's going to have over 10,000 hours, but those tractors are indestructible and they'll run forever and ever and ever. So support those folks as they have their retirement sales on BigIron.com this coming week.
Well, that's our show for today, folks. I'd like to thank our guests, Mark Stock and Ryan Marthaler.
Thanks for having me, Drew.
Oh, you bet. And remind everyone that the equipment mentioned today can all be found on the June 3rd auction on BigIron.com. For the Big Iron Buzz, I'm Drew Dolezal. We'll catch you here next week.